Unity in diversity. It is a great expression and a great philosophical standpoint to live our life with. However, the one thing which confuses most of us is which one comes first? Is it unity comes first or the diversity comes first? Or accepting these two? Because as we know, unity is an intention, whereas the diversity is acceptance. So if I have to restate my way, whether the acceptance has to come first before we move towards unity, that is intention, or the intention has to come first before we start accepting. So let's find out from verse 32 of Taoteching. Hi, welcome back to OneUs. Today is 32 and we will be looking at verse 32 from Taoteching. So as usual, let's observe a second of silence. Thank you. So now let's look at verse 32 from Taoteching. The Tao is forever undefined. So what he means is, the Tao, even as the name Tao, Laotzu never attaches himself with a name that he named, which is Tao. And he says that is mystery. Just for the lack of naming things and lack of expression, he called it as Tao. And however, he doesn't own the name. He can say that we can call the Tao, the nature, or pure consciousness, or anything as we want. But it's as simple as it is a way of nature. So that's what the first line talks about. The Tao is forever undefined. No one can define it. No one can comprehend it. And then he goes like, small, though it is in the unformed state, it cannot be grasped. What he says is, it was so small in the beginning. The science as we've seen in the past, the science also says that before the Big Bang, it is a point which is so minute that so less volume but so much dense. And that's when the Big Bang happened. And nobody can understand what it is. It is before the creation. Even if you want to call it as even the God, it is before the time of God that we created. Or it is before the Big Bang that happened. No one knows. It cannot be comprehended and can be grasped with our human mind. And that's what the second line talks about. And with the second line, we can also say that whatever we observe in a scientific way, even in a philosophical way, when we look up the stars and whatever we can grasp, those are all just a nature of the thing. But it doesn't define what exactly it is. It is as good as people can define me. They can say Karthik looks like this. Karthik speaks like this. Karthik, the way he treats people is like this. But then, those are all my nature. But it is not myself, my true inner self, which is still undefinable. Only I know what is that. No one can always say what is my true self is. They can just define my nature, such as when we try to understand about the nature or the Tao, the way, the beginning, we can only observe the nature of it, but not what it is. And then Laotzu goes like this. If leaders could harness it, the 10,000 thing would naturally obey. What he means by the leaders harnessing it. The first and foremost thing is, from the United States Declaration of Independence, we know that there's one profound statement. All men are created equal and all have a right for their life, liberty and pursuit of happiness. If everyone can understand the truth behind those words, I'm sure that no one will go and divide people and create hierarchy within the society or within the organization. Instead, they flow naturally. There is no way that, we create, I want to unite the people, so that I will enforce a set of rules or set of philosophy and beliefs, etc. Instead, a true leader will allow the people to have their own belief, and yet he follows the way of nature, the way of Tao, that is the unity which comes by default without again creating another set of rules to unite people, he just he accepts, so that the intention of unity automatically flows. And that's what these words mean. And further, he goes with, heaven and earth would come together and gentle rain fall. Obviously, the heaven and earth will come together because there is no more separation of things. So everything fall in place. People would no longer need laws and all things would take their course. As I said before, when we allow the diversity by accepting it completely, and then the intention of unity automatically flows without any rules. Nobody needs the rules anymore. No one needs governance. And for this line, we can also go back and see the ancient histories that the reason why people created religion. Earlier days, when there was a small communities in the villages, people were fighting amongst each other. And that's when people need some kind of a basic rule. And that's one of the intention of religion is to create a set of rules so that people all obey those rules in the name of God and we all be united. However, the same reason now it harms and it separates people. It separates with a different religion, different beliefs and etc. And that is why when we all accept the diversity, then unity as an intention automatically flows. And then the final verse goes like, once the whole is divided, the parts need names. There are already enough names. We need to know when to stop. Here it is clear. When we start the one and start dividing things, the part needs names. When I'm saying that, let's look at this. The truth is one simple thing. That is, we are all same beings. When I say beings, I don't even partialize and say that we are a human being and something else. Rather, I see when I say being, even the dust or a stone or a sand or even the stars or anything that what we can see, conceive and cannot conceive, not observe, everything as a being. So the first thing comes as a being. Then we can further divide as from the universe, we can narrow it down to our galaxy, then to our earth. In earth, we call ourselves earthlings. From earthlings, again, we can further divide as living things and non-living things. In living things, we classify ourselves as a human beings. Even in human beings, we further divide based on their tone, or skin color, or direction. So be it a north or a south, east or west. People from a different region, we divide them. Then comes language, then comes religion, then comes their culture, then comes their country. It goes on further down and down and down to the way that we divide things as literally as you and me. So you stay there, I stay here. So that is a division that we all create instead of seeing one as whole. And that's what Laotzu talks about. The moment we start dividing things, there is no end to it. Rather, accept and believe that there is only one thing. And instead of the quest of separating things and labeling things, we find the way to address things, it's just naming and labeling. There is no need for it when we accept. Right? So there is no idea of diversity in the first place. Right? So the moment we understand that we are all one, there is no need for labeling. There is no need for anything. So there is no diversity. It's all unity, one, being one with everything, which is oneness. And that is what the eternal truth we all pursue. So rather, accept it. One united thing. That's all. And the final word is, knowing when to stop averts trouble. Tao in the world is like a river flowing home to the sea. So he ends it with, Tao is like a river flowing towards the sea. Of course, even in the literal sense, the water from the sea evaporates and comes back as a rain. Though it comes back as a rain droplets, all it forms a simple stream, then a river, then it nourishes its whole way, the whole path, and finally goes back to the sea. And that's what Laotzu means is, Though we see the multiple creation and multiple division of 10,000 things which are manifested, there is only one eternal truth, which is the beginning of everything, the source. We all go back to the source eventually. Everything, every being. The moment we accept this truth, there is no more diversity. It is all unity. That's how I see this verse 32. So, one actionable thought for today is today, if you find yourself labeling any people, especially, then step yourself and ask yourself, is it required? Even when I say that, don't even classify people into different category and hierarchy. Forget, let alone the religion, their beliefs, their community, and etc. But don't even with the hierarchy, right? So see people as who they are. What I mean by that? When I say that there is a maid who comes and helps you with cleaning your house, don't treat them in a differently. If there's a security guard who protects your community or your street or your area, treat them as same. Don't classify them as, oh, someone who's doing something for me. Instead, be grateful. Be grateful for every single being and treat them as you will treat your own self. And that is a way of uniting things instead of dividing things and seeing. With that, let's conclude day 32. Talk to you tomorrow.